And here they are.
Yeah, so it's going to be very exciting to see which of these players gets to go first. I feel that these are both strategies that maybe either or wouldn't be fully prepared for. Fire King, as we saw at YCS Birmingham, is an incredibly good call against the most recent metas in the form of the Malice and, of course, the Raziel strategy. So then on the other side, you do need to kind of consider how they will interact or how they will fare against the Pearly matchup as well.
Yeah, let's take a look. It's also a deck that, I mean, as you have mentioned, it's not that popular, so it's not the most straightforward deck. You might have even, forgotten how to play against it. Maybe it's, it's definitely an unusual way of playing the game, and in this case, it's gonna focus on some field breakers with your favorite. You have mentioned that you wanted to see that Dark Ruler no more.
That's exactly what I said. It's going to be, as you've seen here, obviously, Robin is going to be able to go first with this one. And I feel even his opponent, Raphael, kind of let out a little bit of a shock when he saw the Pearly Field spell get played right there. But as you mentioned, Robin is on a lot of field breakers in the form of stuff like Dark Ruler no more. Ultimate Slayer is also another one that features here. And, of course, free Triple Tactics talents. But the benefit of something like that is the Pearly leads need so little to get started that once they do, they can work their way through all of their powerful spell cards in order to set themselves up with an incredibly powerful ex-Pearly Noir, which can be very, very tricky for an opponent to play through.
And here we hit, which is a big, big hit from that Purely, while also revealing those Dark Words brows that we were talking about.
Yeah, if anything kind of signifies you're not worried about Droll as much, it's playing three Dark World monsters in your deck list to be able to pretty much say, come at me with the Droll and Lockbirds. So we've obviously had the check on Droll and Lockbird. Nothing has been sent via the hand to the graveyard for that one from Raphael. So it does look like this is going to be a very, very powerful field to be presented here, building all the way up through the Pearlies themselves. We could definitely be seeing it in the Noir. Another very interesting point in this one is previously the way that the Pearlies were played is that when you were getting those multiple draws off of the back of the ex-Pearly Noir during the draw phase of your opponent's turn or during your opponent's turn in general, you're ideally looking to be getting into some form of hand traps in order to kind of fend the board off. But it looks like the strategy that Robin has decided to go with is, of course, moving into those board breakers while also sitting on the very powerful ex-Pearly Noirs to return cards from the field to the hand. And that seems to be a fairly strong strategy so that if the field is broken, they're able to come back with those field breakers in the forms of Dark Rulers in order to keep giving them a fighting chance.
We waited quite a bit to activate this impulse, but it's going to come down eventually.
Yeah, so this is obviously an interesting point as well. As you mentioned earlier, how prepared are you going to be for the Pearly matchup? Pearlies weren't really, or Dominus Impulse weren't fully in circulation when the Pearlies were in their prime. And now the question is, where is the right time to use something like an Impulse? You kind of want to make sure that you are tailoring your hand trap interactions, especially if you have few and far of them to actually be activated during your opponent's turn. Of when to use them at its most effective. And it looked like trying to be utilizing it at this point was probably the best use of call from Raphael.
Yeah, and as you can see here, we are able to set up a 5 material, I believe, Noir.
Yeah, the benefit of even being able to utilize his opponent's own impulse to help provide an additional material is very, very good.
Yeah, we are ordering up, and no, it's actually 6, at the moment. That's great. Gonna be able to go up to 7, which is the key number, because it allows you to still use 1 and, keep the protection effect going.
Yeah.
And how many draws do we get? Yeah.
Then just counting on that.
2, I think. Yeah. That's great. What a setup.
Very, very effective to be able to add this. And I think they're just double checking the amount of materials that the Noir is going to have. As you mentioned earlier, you want to make sure that you hold back or have that interaction of returning a card from the field as many times as you possibly can while still maintaining your protection.
Great. And obviously, really good way to start things off here from Raphael as well with the Pot of Extravaganza. Another one of those cards again in Quarter Century Stampede that will receive an alternate art for the first time in a 3D card game, featuring the Golden Lord.
Yeah, some of the cards that are coming out in Stampede do look absolutely amazing with those alternate arts. We mentioned earlier about Quem. There's also Cartesia, Fallen of AIRPODS, and then, as you've already mentioned, we've got the Pot of Extravagance, which kind of fits within the lore style a little bit more, gives a bit more backstory to the Pot of Extravagance itself.
But here the deck is revealed to Robin. If he has followed, competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! As of lately, Dinka's Bui deck got a lot of attention for a reason. And it is a very interesting deck in a way where it doesn't really set up, these super huge combos, but it outgrinds, the opponents quite successfully, so and efficiently, I'd say.
Yeah, so you've been able to use Fire King Island, destroying that Garunix in hand, which is something you might not always want to do. Sometimes it looks like he's opened up a second Garunix in order to get that to the field, which is quite important. We all know that there is a Kirin in the hand as well. It looks like there is another Impulse that can be quite effective, and an Infinite Impermanence. And that looks like a second Fire King Island in the hand as well.
Indeed, which I'm not sure if Dinka was even playing 2 copies. He might be only on 1 if my memory doesn't trick me, but regardless, it's definitely a bit surprising that he has had to to read this Garunix, and we'll take a look at how Raphael manages to play around this Noir.
Yeah, so it looks like we're going to be destroying this Kirin in the deck through the Garunix effect itself. This will, of course, be able to trigger the graveyard effect of the Kirin to try and provide a bit more field presence. But trying to work away here, this is the point, is at what point does Robin feel that he needs to use the Noir effect? And especially when you're counting how many cards that Raphael may have in his hand, this could be a very big difference. And it looks like we're about to see... No activation from the Noir here. Just again, double checking the amount of materials, how many times it can be activated before it falls foul and no longer protected.
I mean, what is the plan to get rid of it? I guess it's mostly going to be by attacking it. So maybe with the Garunix Eternity or Typhon, or I mean, I don't know if there is any other way to get rid of it.
Yeah, we've still got the Pearly Beauty on the field as well, that can provide another line.
Yeah.
So it gains the quick effect.
And I think this is what we also just witnessed, because we went for the Eternity and then the Kirin has been used, so completely wiping all of his field. And yeah, then gonna use some graveyard effects.
We're just going to be bringing those 2 cards straight back off of the Eternity. Very interesting use. You've basically just traded your Eternity for the Beauty, and in return, you get back your Garunix and a Kirin, and your opponent gets a Pearlily. The Noir is still intact, still attached, and it still has the ability to return a card. And it doesn't look like... It looks like we're going to be entering a grind game between the 2 of these players.
Yeah. Not surprising, but I mean, you got to give the advantage to Robin at this point, because, yeah, there's not really much that you can do. You cannot target the Noir, and he's going to get so much advantage right here.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be the ideal strategy in this one, just to make sure you can make that X-Pearly as protected as possible while still maintaining the ability to use the effects a little bit more freely. And if you're able to kind of navigate through Raphael's first turn as he has done, without needing to use that return effect and still maintaining the amount of materials we have, we could be drawing a lot of advantage here, as well as being able to make the Exponent very, very strong to deal with the Garunix and the Kirin and not need to worry about the destruction effects in the graveyard.
Now we get to use, again, my friend Purely, added from the Purely in the previous turn. I can't tell how many cards he has, but I mean, they're not too few, because he also had the double draw in the standby phase.
Correct. I suppose the one big benefit that we do have on Raphael's side is because of all of the field breakers that are being played by Robin, most of them require your opponent to have some form of extra deck monster on the field to gain as much advantage as possible. So right now, Dark Rule No More doesn't seem to be that much of an effective use of a card, and neither does Ultimate Slayer. We do also see the discard of the Black Goat Laughs, which does have some very nice graveyard synergies with being able to provide another kind of a slow lockdown. There is the Dark Rule No More. Nothing off of that, though.
It's a miss, but yeah, it's a great interaction. Obviously, it works well with all of the Purely spells, discarding it. But he's also using this Foolish Burial Goods plus Metalful Fusion engine, which can provide you additional draws. While if you already got your thing going, you can send the the Black Goat Laugh and just have a layer of protection.
Yeah, so this is a very good strategy here, using the Expellier Noir to be able to absorb as many of Raphael's monsters as possible, making sure the Fire Kings don't actually enter the graveyard and obviously don't get destroyed. Also does provide you with another way of being able to play around those effects that allow them to keep recurring back to the field and also being able to keep presenting these incredibly strong monsters, just maintaining that field presence. Whereas the Expellier Noir can just comfortably sit there in defense position, either absorb the materials, make itself stronger and stronger, and when it does feel threatened, that's when it can start returning cards from the field to the hand.
And yeah, we can just wait it out. He doesn't really need to do much. He's going to get 2 more draws now in the standby phase.
Yeah, I am very curious as to what these draws are going to provide, but they're just going to provide a little bit more presence once it comes back to Robin's turn.
And I think,
yeah, we're just scooping off there.
I mean, the sheer advantage was just too much from...
Exactly that. So moving into game 2 on this one, Robin being 1 up at this exact moment in time. You can imagine that Raphael is possibly going to want to go first on this one. And the opening hand doesn't seem too unfamiliar than the previous one.
Yeah. Feels good. We are not playing Ash Blossom at all, so that will resolve. Ooh, and we picked up some side deck cards, but do we have a way to play the game? Oh yeah, we do have a Ponix.
Ooh, there's also a very interesting card in Raphael's hand that could very, very easily slow Robin down as he tries to build his field during the next turn. So it'll be interesting to see if that actually comes up or if that's something you can kind of keep a little bit more hidden as we build.
Absolutely. But as we already have the island, we went and searched the Sky Burn, guaranteeing another layer of interruption. And this could just be either the Garunix, yeah, I guess it's the safest.
Yeah, I feel at this point now, when you know there hasn't been a draw in response to the draw of Extravagance or the possibility of even the temptation of an Ash Blossom, you can feel a little bit more secure while making your plays here. Just being able to very simply go through Garunix into Kirin, grabbing hold of your Ponix back to the field. It kind of gives you or shows you that type of resource recursion that it has the ability for. Being able to set 1, set 2, and set 3. With only one of those being known by Robin, and we don't even know that that is definitely being set yet.
On the other hand, though, I have some news, because in the side deck, Robin is playing some spell and trap removals. So it will be interesting to see if he picks up any of those from his side deck.
Yeah, using Terraform is quite a nice way to see if there is any. It's a little bit risky, because I suppose if you do get hit with a Drawn Lockbird off of the back of a Terraforming could be a little bit dangerous, but we're going to be seeing the Infinite Impermanence on the Pearly. This is going to be to see how this develops will be quite interesting, because we're already trying to pick away some of the interactions from the back row, or from the spell and trap zones. We do know that there is possibly a Skyfire along there, and it's going to be a single set.
Oh, wow. Not quite what you want to see.
Taking no risks along with that spell and trap along the back row.
Oh,
being the
the mind games here.
This is certainly going to allow Raphael to rebuild his field during his opponent's turn and still kind of present very, very strong monsters that, unfortunately, that Pearly is not looking so strong against. Eyeing up the Kirin, destroying the Kirin to utilize its effect. This can also lead to a bit more, so we're going to go with Ponix. Getting rid of the Pearly as well. Completely queuing off Robin's board, Robin's field in return.
Yeah, and getting access to yet another copy of Skyburn.
So this is what we mean when we really do enter the grind state. So it feels that Raphael is also preparing himself for a couple of turns in the future as well. Get a bit of damage on the field. Make sure you kind of slow Robin's field state down a little bit more, and as while you continue to build. So if you're able to complete the OTK, amazing. If not, you're still setting yourself up to play that bit of the grind state if you need to.
And there comes another Garunix. This could just be it if Robin doesn't have... I don't even know what he could have, to be fair.
DD Crow.
Yeah. It's like Bestials are not really doing it. You have to do it on your own cards, and it's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
We haven't normal summon yet. We have... yeah, this is enough.
Just going to swing. Yeah.
Absolutely. So quick and fast returns the favor, and Raphael just...
A massive opening 5 cards for Robin on this one. Be very interesting to see. I feel that you might see some sort of reaction from Raphael if that Dimension Fissure is activated early doors. And like you said, straight away, being able to not only counter your opponent's own strategy, but also end up protecting you from one of your biggest weaknesses. It's just a double-ended bit of amazement there.
He's thinking quite a bit about it, and the opener is going to be this purely... Okay, it does it. One of the better targets. So that's a great, great start, eating one of those 2 copies of Sleepy Memory.
Yeah, I feel that we've already kind of passed the point of possible drone lockbird territory. You might want to be using it as early as you possibly can, especially after that first excavation.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. We're going to be looking to go for the good old-fashioned Metalfoes Fusion, send it to the graveyard, put it back into the deck, reshuffle, and draw 1 card. Is it going to be the Dimension Fissure?
Essentially a fancier Upstart Goblin, but it does the trick. Now it's time to follow it up, but no, we do start things off by using the Lily and just the purely with the added Sleepy Memory to get the smaller Noir of the 2. Do we have a response? We do. Ooh. Interesting. Activating Kirin.
Could this very possibly be 2 Kirins in the hand? That looks like 2 Volcanics to me, and it is an Volcanics. So Kirin destroying the Volcanics. Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, and we had the Black Goat Laugh, which we can now discard and just set up in the graveyard as an additional interruption later on. Oh, but we did have...
So this is very interesting because I believe being able to utilize that Garunix, once it hits the field, it will then be able to destroy possibly another Kirin in the deck, which in turn will allow us to revive, or allow Raphael to revive the Volcanics and destroy one of the Pearlies currently on the field. Bit more of an aggressive opening from Raphael, and it's not even his turn, which is very, very interesting. It looks like we're going to be chaining the Black Goat Laughs in order to... wonder what the target is of the Black Goat Laughs. Is it going to be calling the Volcanics? That might be the best way of doing it. So it looks like we're going to be getting
No,
both.
I think he probably went for Garunix, right? Chaining into the effect.
Neither player can activate the effects of monsters on the field with that original name.
Yeah,
so it'd be the Garunix.
I think that makes sense. So the Volcanics gets to resolve, but at least you prevent the real interruption, which
would be the destruction of the Kirin.
Exactly. So this has worked out incredibly well due to drawing that one of Black Goat Laugh. And now we are free to continue, pretty much uninterrupted. Only 2 cards in hand from Raphael. Oof, and this talent is huge.
Yes, it is. Gone for the draw instead.
Ooh, interesting.
Either really trying to dig for that Dimension Fissure. Ooh.
I thought it might have been, an end rip and just guaranteeing the game would go his way, but no, goes for a draw. I mean, finds some pretty good cards as he's able to access now both the Field Spell and my friend Pearly.
Yeah, being able to use these spells in tandem will be able to grab a decent amount of advantage for Robin on this one. But then you've got to take into account the risk and reward. So the risk of drawing 2 rather than seeing what remains in your opponent's hand could come back to be quite damaging. It depends on where they're going to be trying to lead into with this one. As I do feel that I saw a very cheeky Dominus Impulse in the hand of Raphael.
I thought so as well. So it's just going to be up to Raphael to decide when to go for it. Because... here we can also access the 1 copy of Pure Yip at some point. So
yeah, and do not let the field state confuse you on this one. It's definitely still only turn 1 being Robin's turn, even though there are 3 monsters currently sitting on Raphael's field. So no battle phase will be conducted this turn for sure. So I suppose Robin will need to try and find an alternative route to be able to remove all 3 of these monsters from Raphael's field. And keeping in mind that Kirin can still provide a form of threat when being destroyed. And then of course you'll have the Garunix that will be able to revive itself later on as well.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to see this excavated cards. But it looked to me as if he did not miss. So now we are going to use this Impulse. We have waited patiently. It's probably being activated on the Pure Lily. Effect to special.
Yeah, this is really going to slow down Robin's momentum here. But still trying to work your way into the X Pearly Noir is your ideal outgoal for this. So it depends on what else we have here.
And this is where I think we finally access our trap card. Yep.
Yeah, so the Yeep is going to provide an alternative way of being able to get into the X Pearly during your opponent's turn. We know that Raphael still only has exactly what he has on the board and one unknown card in hand, not to mention the top deck as well. So there's still a lot to kind of work through in Robin's favour.
Oh, not quite, but yeah.
That is
Jump
not the
scare.
time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, is it a Princess Proud time? Or what are we going to do for...
Oh, Princess Sprout would be very interesting. It is.
It is. Big, big reveal. Not quite. That dimensional feature.
Just keeps to escaping Robin.
Yeah.
It's got to be quite disappointing as well. Of all the cards that could have been excavated off the top of that Princess, I'm pretty sure we've gone through 2 Pearlies, 2 Pearlilies. So there's only 4 monsters left in the entire deck, sadly.
Yeah, not quite going to be it, but I think, yeah, we are going to have to think a little bit about which to banish with this SP. Yeah, it's going to be closer because... Let me check.
Yeah, I believe the Fire High Avatar Garunix, so the original Garunix, needs to be in the standby phase after this card was destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be, as long as that doesn't get destroyed, we're going to be safe.
Not quite. And now we get to draw possibly 2 cards because we can use, as he's doing, the trap card still in the standby phase. And it will be considered, obviously, as a different Xyz. And then we can draw another card. Well executed by Robin. But unfortunately, he will have to decide what to do. He doesn't have enough materials to use the effect and still be protected. That's the only issue. It's exactly 5.
Yeah, exactly 5 materials. I think we're just checking the graveyard to see if there's anything more that could possibly attach more. But just being able to have a Kirin and a Garunix on the field are both incredibly strong. It means that the SP Littonite threat isn't as much as Robin would have liked it to have been. And then that kind of forces the X Pearly Noir to possibly return one of the Fire Kings to make sure that SP maybe survives.
Oh, but we're actually going to give Robin a chance to use this SP because we go for Volcanics. And now we are only holding 1 card.
Yeah, very interesting choice here to normal summon the Volcanics. Are we trying to... It looks like we are trying to interact. So it looks like it's going to be SP Littonite banishing itself and Kirin. And then we are going to be chaining the X Pearly Noir to return the original Garunix.
Yeah, essentially gonna say you don't have another fire, but it does have another fire. Yeah, and you can see both smiling.
Yeah, big risk and reward on that one. Bit of a gamble, and unfortunately didn't play off the way that Robin would have liked. Still loads to go for in this game still, though. The ability of being able to destroy the Avatar in the hand as well is going to allow a second Volcanics to enter the field. Plus, we still have the Garunix that has just been added to the hand. So this field went very quickly from 3 monsters to 1 monster, going straight back up to 3 for Raphael.
Indeed, this is huge. We're going to use the Arvata to bring back the Volcanics, and then the Garunix comes down. And this time, we are not really protected. I guess the field spell is still annoying, because we cannot target the Noir, right? But...
Yep, correct. So your opponent cannot target Pearly monsters you control with card effects, but it's only the turn they are special summoned. So, of course, the X Pearly was summoned through Pearly Yeep this turn, so it's still protected.
Yeah, but Kirin doesn't target anyways, so...
No, correct.
So, you know?
Target protection does not matter here.
Yeah, not quite. So this is actually looking incredibly promising for Raphael. And yeah, I think he's gonna make sure that that is the case.
I mean, there definitely is a princess line here. It looks like we're going to go into Salomon Grey Almirage. Do we work our way into an SP Little Knight here just to clear off the X Pearly? That's what Raphael is looking at.
Yeah, but that doesn't quite work, right? Because of the field spell again?
Correct.
So
Going after my friend instead.
Cannot target the XCs, therefore we have to change plan. Yeah, and this is what he's realized now. We need to find another way, and Princess...
So currently I believe the Grunix is strong enough to destroy the X-Pearly via battle. We've already used the SP effect, so we can't attack directly this turn. But that still does leave Robin with only the field spell and then whatever was drawn for turn. Apologies, drawn off of the X-Pearly during the start of Raphael's turn.
And I think this is what they are clarifying right now, because it looked as if he was almost making a link with the shoe, but then maybe realized, and I think this is what he has now realized, that thanks to the boost, he can attack over. But this is going to give quite a few resources back to Robin as well. And in this simplified game state, it can really go either way. I think we added another my friend, most likely. And yeah.
Yeah, so they're just correcting the positioning on the field, so it's a little bit more clear to know exactly what card is in what area. It now looks like Raphael is eyeing up the Princess play.
Yeah.
Now would be a good time because this will start getting you a bit more of your fire resource in rotation.
But the problem is, again, this field spell is quite annoying because the graveyard effect of Princess does target.
Correct.
So it's, still being quite the MVP for this match at least.
Yes, it means timing is going to be imperative on this one because it's only the Pearly XYZs, correct, that are going to be protected. Oh, no, it is Pearly Monsters. Yeah. I suppose you have to kind of, maybe Princess and Graveyard isn't going to be as effective as we would
really.
like.
Yeah, we're back in action as our own SP is back. And I guess that's something that possibly we can go after.
Yeah, I suppose at the very least, the Princess will be able to destroy Raphael's own Kirin, and then that's something that doesn't target. So that might be a way where he will clear off whatever Pearly monster enters the field. So we're going to be going off with my friend Pearly. So this will obviously be able to get a little bit more advantage for Robin on this one as well.
It's actually going to be quite close. At the moment, there is 9 minutes remaining, which is all right, but also not too long, given these two decks. Also, I believe we should be losing some life points for this friend, right?
Yeah, so Robin was on 85. We're now down to 8,000. So Raphael currently sits on 9,000. So at the moment, Robin is technically down on life points, but like you said, there is still 9 minutes left. There should be plenty of time for Robin to put a bit of damage on this field. It just needs to be a little bit careful of that Kirin. You want to make sure it doesn't get destroyed and go to the graveyard. But as long as you can navigate around that, maybe with something like SP Little Knight, you should be able to. And there is the first use of Brow correctly being able to discard itself and draw a card as well.
Indeed.
Oh,
again?
there's 2D fissures again. Was that
the same?
That was exactly the same. 2D fissures and a Brow.
No way. It was exactly the same, yeah.
That is absolutely crazy. Considering one Brow is already in the... 2 Brows are in the graveyard, actually, because we excavated one off of the P Princess. So, yeah, the chances of that are very, very high. Very, very low, sorry. Moving into the Pearly Plant. I'm pretty sure there's a Pearly monster that allows him to return.
And here comes the Princess, which can only target this SP. And we are just going to chain it.
Yeah. Surprised we didn't get rid of the Kirin.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, he didn't realize the impact of the ETA, but I mean, it works. At least wants to prevent any possible effect from resolving, and now we are gonna put so many different materials, and we can also get rid of this Book of
there we
Moon
go.
to steal the Kirin and use a talent as well to draw 2 cards. Yeah. Wow. This really has been a back and forth match and duel.
Yeah, very well navigated on this one. Being able to absorb the Kirin means that you take away that graveyard destruction effect. And then all we need to be doing with the remaining 6 minutes, obviously you want to be a little bit faster than that, but you need to start turning around a 1,000 life points difference, which should be relatively easily achieved with the Pearly monsters. I believe, is it Happiness that gets to only attack on monsters though, correct? Yeah, so if this card battles, you get to add a Pearly card from your deck to the hand. So trying to get as much damage as possible, because you don't really want to be putting it 1,000 life points in your favor, but at the very least that'll definitely be better than being 1,000 life points in the other direction. I suppose we must be on 7 materials now as well. Yeah, there we go. There's the Noir.
Absolutely. The Plump put in some damage, finally getting ahead, and yeah, this was really, really well piloted by Robin.
Yeah.
Look at the amount of materials. Yeah, now we're going to get back the SP and the ETA. And one final draw possibly for Raphael.
That looked like a draw a lot, bird.
Oof. Really, really needs a miracle. What can he even do? Like Typhon doesn't really help.
No. Getting that X-Pearly up to 7 materials is very, very dangerous.
Yeah, although this one really looked as if it could go either way. Yeah.
There comes the Typhon. Ooh,
Okay, just in case, a Book of Moon.
Yeah.
And the match is closed. It will be Robin with this purely